feel like either one of them right now could fight for the title. If it's Carlos, I'm happy. If it's Morales, I'm happy. You know, but we also got to add the monster at that weight class, the boogeyman, Shavkat. Shavkat is amazing, and that's the only guy actually that could beat Islam. That's the only guy that could beat Islam, and he's naturally bigger.
I think Tapuria is the perfect fight for him. I think that fight needs to happen. Tapuria has a low center of gravity, so he's going to be very hard to take down. And when he's not taking him down, he's going to be punching him with all he's got. So I'm hoping that the UFC makes that fight next.
After a dominant win, Jorge Masvidal dropped a bombshell that has the entire MMA world reeling. Only one man can truly challenge Islam Makhachev. He didn't mince words, declaring that in a division stacked with elite talent, only Shavkat Rakhmonov possesses the unique combination of size, wrestling, cardio, and striking to defeat the seemingly invincible Dagestani champion. This isn't just a prediction, it's a stark, almost audacious claim that questions the very hierarchy of the welterweight division. Could Islam truly be that dominant against everyone else? Masvidal firmly believes Shavkat is the exception, the monster, the boogeyman who can disrupt Islam's reign. This statement alone has ignited a firestorm of debate, pitting fans and analysts against each other, asking if Masvidal is crazy or a prophet. The implications are enormous for the future of two weight classes.
I feel like either one of them right now could fight for the title. If it's Carlos, I'm happy. If it's Morales, I'm happy. You know, but we also got to add the monster at that weight class, the boogeyman, Shavkat. Shavkat is amazing, and that's the only guy actually that could beat Islam. That's the only guy that could beat Islam, and he's naturally bigger, great wrestler, has an endless tank of gas, and he's not bad on the feet. You know, he does eat some shots to give some shots, but he's not bad on the feet. And now that I think about it, I forgot completely about Shavkat. He's been injured for so long, but he's another one of my favorite welterweights. He could be another guy that could beat him all, man. Shavkat's really good, so maybe we get Shavkat versus Jack Magdalena, or Shavkat versus one of these guys, Carlos or Michael, whoever doesn't fight for the title, because we need to see Shavkat fighting for that title.
Daniel Cormier, a former double champion and Hall of Famer, echoed Masvidal's sentiment, elevating the stakes even further for a potential Islam versus Shavkat clash. DC believes this matchup isn't just a fight, it's a crazy fight that would undoubtedly be the hardest fight of Islam Makhachev's career, coming from someone who's seen it all and trained with the best. This endorsement carries immense weight. Cormier's analysis suggests Shavkat isn't just a tough opponent, but a uniquely challenging puzzle for Islam, one that pushes beyond anything he's faced before. He sees Shavkat as a naturally bigger force, a true welterweight who brings an unparalleled threat to Islam's dominant grappling and striking. This isn't just hype, it's a deep analysis of a fighter's potential to truly test the champion's limit. The thought of this showdown sends shivers down the spines of fans.
You know, either Usman or who else they got that? I mean, I want to see the Tapuria fight. Everybody wants to see the Tapuria fight. I think it needs to happen. You know, whether they do it at welterweight or they do it at lightweight, that fight needs to happen. We need to settle it, and I think that Ilia will be a toughest fight because he has that low center of gravity, so he's a lot shorter, so it's going to be harder to take him down and hold him down. So he's got good jiu-jitsu. I see him getting back to the feet, and obviously he's one of the biggest punchers the UFC's ever seen, so I'd like to see Ilia get his hands on him and knock him out.
Why is Shavkat Rakhmonov considered such a unique and formidable threat to Islam Makhachev? The answer lies in his exceptional all-around game and physical attribute. Experts highlight his naturally bigger frame for the welterweight division, which offers a significant advantage in power and control. Beyond size, his great wrestling is consistently praised, suggesting he might be one of the few who can truly negate Islam's ground game, or at least offer strong resistance. Then there's his endless tank of gas, indicating a cardio level that can sustain a high pace over multiple rounds, a crucial factor against a relentless fighter like Islam. Finally, his striking, though sometimes leading to him eating some shots to give some shots, is considered far from bad. This complete package makes Shavkat a genuinely terrifying prospect, a true boogeyman with no clear weaknesses.
Should Ilia Tapuria and Michael Morales be in the same weight class?
Ilia Tapuria taking on Islam Makhachev. Is it at 155 or is it at 170?
It's unfair at 170. At no point in UFC history should Ilia Tapuria and Michael Morales be in the same weight class. The difference would be too much. With Makhachev, it's not limbs, it's the back. When he's on top, you can see his back. Or maybe Ilia could listen. Doubting Ilia has become like a loser's profession, and maybe he'll get in Makhachev's head a little bit as well. JDM was kind of just sort of staying calm in the build-up. You know, someone will ask him a long-winded question and he'll go, "Yeah, we'll see." And that's
But Shavkat isn't the only name being thrown into the ring for Islam Makhachev's next dance. Colby Covington, always one to stir the pot, firmly believes Ilia Tapuria should be Islam's next opponent, regardless of the weight class. Colby views Tapuria as a danger Islam has not faced before, emphasizing Ilia's inherent strength and raw power. He specifically points out that Tapuria's low center of gravity makes him incredibly difficult to take down and control on the ground, a direct challenge to Islam's renowned wrestling dominance. Furthermore, Covington sees Tapuria as a fighter with the ability to end the fight with his striking, suggesting a knockout threat that Islam might not easily evade. This perspective paints Ilia as a unique stylistic challenge, a relentless force capable of upsetting Islam's calculated approach. The question now becomes, can Ilia live up to this formidable billing?
Вот многие после такого выступления считают, что бой с Ильей — это полный мисс-матч. Ты как считаешь?
Не факт. Я думаю, что с Ильей будет намного тяжелее, чем с Мадаленой было.
Из-за низкого центра тяжести и борьбы?
Из-за антропометрии, и я думаю, что у Ильи намного тяжелее удар, чем с кем он дрался?
Джек Делла Мадалена.
Да, я думаю, что у Ильи тяжелее удар, чем у Мадалена. Мадалена меньше ронял, чем Илья. Илья почти всех роняет.
The potential super fight between Islam Makhachev and Ilia Tapuria at 70 pounds has sparked intense debate among fight analysts, with Demetrius Johnson, an MMA guru, weighing in. They questioned whether Tapuria and other fighters in the welterweight division truly match Makhachev's unique blend of size and skill, especially given his strength isn't just about striking, but his suffocating ground control. They highlighted that Islam's pressure, even on composed opponents, is overwhelming, introducing a new level of challenge and mental strain. While Tapuria's ability is undeniable, facing someone of Islam's caliber could expose him to an unprecedented test, making some wonder if the size and stylistic advantages at welterweight would be too much for Ilia. The conversation shifts from pure skill to how physical attributes amplify that skill, particularly when grappling is the primary weapon. This matchup is truly a chess match.
Very good performance. I was shocked how he beat so easy Madalena. It says what's Islam level, you know. He's in different level right now. He's on his prime.
Yeah, I think a lot of people thought that fight would be a lot closer.
And I don't know who can stop him right now. The 170 even.
Armen Tirochin, a keen observer of the sport, emphatically stated that a fight against Ilia Tapuria would be far tougher for Islam Makhachev than his recent dominant bout with Jack Della Maddalena. Tirochin's reasoning is clear and brutal. Ilia possesses significantly more power and has a history of nearly knocking out most of his opponents, a stark contrast to Maddalena's fewer finishes. This isn't just about winning, it's about the potential for absolute devastation. Armen stresses that Tapuria's strength and physical build would make the matchup incredibly challenging, presenting a different kind of threat than Islam encountered at UFC. He's suggesting that while JDM was a solid contender, Ilia is on another plane of destructive capability, an opponent who could genuinely put Islam in precarious positions with his raw power. The difference, he implies, is night and day.
I know cornering, you can blow it out of proportionally how much advice you're going to get in that like 1 minute period, but like I know you mentioned that, like what are his coaches doing?
Yeah, it seemed very odd to me. Like they were just trying to fire him up the whole time. I was like, bro, he can be fired up as he wants. Like if he doesn't start doing something different, it's not gonna help. Like he's fighting hard as hell, right? Like, I mean, he's grimacing the whole time. Like he's squeezing hard as he can, you know, fighting against those submissions hard as he can. Like the guy is giving it his all. Like telling him to give it more is not gonna help a single thing. If anything, tell him to relax a little bit. And
Sean O'Malley, never one to shy away from bold predictions, believes a fight between Ilia Tapuria and Islam Makhachev could ascend to become one of the most technically impressive matchups in MMA history. He envisions a clash of titans where two elite skill sets collide, far more competitive than Islam's recent outing against Jack Della Maddalena. O'Malley insists this is the fight you have to make, the one fans are truly eager to witness next, hinting at an unprecedented display of martial arts mastery, while acknowledging Ilia needs a significant significant victory first to earn such an opportunity, O'Malley's excitement is palpable, seeing the potential for a contest that sets a new standard for skill and excitement. He foresees a monumental battle, a true showcase of rare talent that would be honestly hard to beat in terms of overall quality.
The game plan was movement, but I feel like we never got the movement going. We had sort of roots to the feet on the floor, but for whatever reason, we couldn't start executing and getting to the first point of those routes. Just Islam did such a good job. And I don't want to go too much into the game plan because it is a game plan we'll use again. I mean, I don't think there was an issue with the game plan, just the execution. But yeah, definitely more movement. We wanted to do more movement. Obviously, we didn't want to be on the ground for 19 minutes of a 25-minute fight. We wanted to do some damage, wanted to do death by 1,000 cuts, you know, like just pick away on the outside and blah, blah, blah. But it just wasn't our night.
Delving deeper into his vision for Islam versus Ilia, Sean O'Malley provided a compelling breakdown of their respective arsenals, comparing them to rare, generational talents like John Jones. He highlighted that both Islam and Ilia possess rare elite abilities across striking, wrestling, and jiu-jitsu, making them 10 out of 10 in the complex realm of MMA. O'Malley emphasized that while Ilia has shown strong performances against quality opponents, he hasn't yet faced a true grappling test, a domain where Islam reigns supreme. However, he quickly tempered this by acknowledging that both are extremely well-rounded and highly skilled fighters capable of handling almost anyone in their divisions. He even pondered if size could play a role, but ultimately concluded that their overall mastery of the sport would make it an extraordinary, captivating spectacle, a clash of comprehensive martial arts prowess.
Yeah, and I think the benefit of the Makhachev fight is Jack can kind of feel like he doesn't need to worry about submissions anymore, which might be bad for everyone else because it will mean that he's going to unload even more on the feet, you know? And instead of being the guy that floats around and picks people apart and the death by 1,000 cuts guy, you might find a motivated Jack who's pissed off, who's just going to run after people. Not run after people. We'll always use good footwork and technique and stuff like that. Beautiful violence is what we're searching for. But maybe Jack's a man that instead of like waiting for you and trying to get you on the counter now, maybe he's going to come straight at you and just try and hit you in the face as hard as he can and back his skills on the ground, you know. We're not discouraged by what happened on the floor. Yeah, he got held down, he couldn't get back up again. And that is disappointing and we do need to work on that. But, you know, the bulletproof submission defense is something that we can use moving forward.
Shifting gears to Islam Makhachev's recent dominant victory at UFC 322 against Jack Della Maddalena, the reactions from inside the MMA community were stark. Armin Taruchin, having witnessed the spectacle, was shocked how he'd be so easy Maddalena, describing the performance as one that showcased the champion's elite level. Taruchin went further, stating that Islam is operating on a completely different plane, far ahead of everyone else, and is undeniably pound for pound the best. His assessment painted a picture of a fighter so superior that the bout felt like a champion fighting an amateur. The ease with which Islam dismantled JDM left many questioning who, if anyone, could truly stop him, even if he ventured up to 70 pounds. This absolute dominance was a terrifying message to the rest of the divisions.
I think he'd never felt the pressure like that in his life and felt ridiculously uncomfortable. But I guarantee there's going to be excuses. He's going to come up with some excuse and try to tell himself that it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It could never have been me. I'm the world champion. I'm going to blame it on something else because it's far too hard to sit down, point the finger at myself and go, I wasn't good enough. So he'll never do that. I don't believe JDM's man enough to point the finger at himself and say, I wasn't good enough.
The aftermath of UFC 322 wasn't just about Islam's brilliance. It also sparked scathing criticism regarding Jack Della Maddalena's preparation. Ian Gary, never one to hold back, lambasted JDM's team, claiming they looked unprepared for a world title fight. Gary went as far as to say their preparation was nearly non-existent, questioning if anyone had even informed them of the magnitude of the occasion. This wasn't a gentle critique, it was a harsh indictment of a camp that, according to Gary, failed to rise to the challenge. The insinuation is that JDM was set up for failure, not by his own lack of effort, but by a coaching staff that simply wasn't ready for the elite level Islam operates on. Such a direct attack on a fighter's corner is rare and immediately creates a ripple of controversy.
I'd really like to praise Islam for his performance. You can make yourself look an idiot when you come on podcasts and predict things and they don't happen. I believed in everything I said, and obviously it didn't come true this time. But for 10 years, pretty much everything I've said has come true. So I'm going to stand by what I say. And yeah, this time I got egg on my face and I look a bit silly for some of the things I've said. But at no point do I feel I was disrespectful towards the other side. I just said how I believe the fight would go down. And they put together a masterful game plan. And Islam executed that game plan to perfection. And I can give them nothing but props. And congratulations to him on cementing his legacy as probably the GOAT.
Adding to the criticism of Jack Della Madalena's corner at UFC 302, Matt Brown offered a nuanced yet equally damning perspective. Brown felt the coaches overhyped Jack, who was already giving his absolute all in the fight against Islam Makhachev. He believed that instead of pushing an exhausted fighter harder, the corner should have focused on helping JDM stay calm and focused, offering strategic advice rather than simply trying to fire him up. Brown observed JDM grimacing the whole time and squeezing hard against submissions, confirming he was fighting with every ounce of his being. Telling a fighter giving his all to give it more is not only unhelpful, Brown argued, but potentially detrimental. This critique highlights a fundamental disconnect in cornering philosophy under the highest pressure.
When you commit to having a fight, it doesn't matter what the f***'s wrong with you. If anything was, and I'm not going to confirm or deny anything. When we decided to step in the cage, we believed Jack could win that fight. So, you know, that's all I'm going to say. There are no excuses here. We didn't do enough on the day to get the job done. And that is it. I'm not going to be the guy that wants his student's finest moment to be a close loss or get into a decision. It's not good enough. Like, that's not what we're in this game for. We're winners, you know, and we want to win. So I sit here and make no excuses. Jack was ready and I was confident Jack was going to win. And I was confident we trained him and put him in the right place. And you know what? As coach, I take full responsibility. It's my job to make sure everything's right, everything's proper, and Jack's in the best place. And maybe I didn't do a good enough job this time.
Amidst the swirling criticisms, Jack Della Madalena's coach, Ben Vickers, staunchly defended their game plan against Islam Makhachev, asserting that execution was the problem, rather than the strategy itself. Vickers explained that the plan was built on movement and picking away at Islam on the outside, with a clear objective to avoid lengthy periods on the ground. However, they struggled to get the movement going, allowing Islam to dictate the pace and control the fight. Vickers was careful not to reveal too much about the strategy, stating it's a game plan we'll use again, indicating a belief in its efficacy despite the outcome. This defense suggests a conviction that had JDM been able to implement the plan, the fight would have unfolded very differently, placing the onus squarely on in-fight performance.
No, and the problem is, like you say, Jack Della Madalena, welterweight champion, months of training, and they want me to go over there and beat Islam in 1 day notice. Like, that's impossible, right? But I think you spot on what you say. Like, if you give Islam space, he gonna get you in a submission. So the best thing you can do is just survive the round. But that's the problem. First round, and then you got tired, and then the second round, and then on the fifth, motherfucker was crying. I don't know if you saw that. JDM looked like he was crying. Like the frustration.
Just defeated mentally, bro.
Yeah, defeated mentally. And man, that shows how good Islam is and how good Khabib's camp is, you know?
Yeah, it's crazy.
Double fucking champ, brother.
Despite the loss, Jack Della Madalena's coach Ben Vickers found a silver lining, believing the Islam Makhachev fight significantly improved Jack's submission defense. This newfound resilience, Vickers suggests, will give JDM confidence to worry less about being caught in future bout. The implication is profound. With a bulletproof submission defense, Jack can now unleash his striking with even greater ferocity and less hesitation, becoming more dangerous on the feet. Vickers envisions a motivated Jack, potentially pissed off, who might forgo his death by 1,000 cuts approach to come straight out and hit you in the face as hard as you can. This transformation could turn a devastating loss into a pivotal moment, shaping JDM into an even more aggressive and terrifying striker.
Islam made the fight look so easy, dude. And I did not expect it to look that easy. I chose Islam to win. Anytime there's a grappler versus a striker, usually 90% of the time I'm picking the grappler. Especially when they're this dominant. But I expected JDM to give him more problems, be able to get back to his feet and show more danger on his feet.
Ian Gary, however, had a far more cynical take on Jack Della Madalena's reaction to his loss against Islam Makhachev, confidently predicting JDM would make excuses rather than fully own his loss. Gary believes Jack will likely blame external factors instead of having the courage to admit, "I wasn't good enough." He pointed to the anguish on his face on the ground and the ridiculously uncomfortable pressure JDM experienced, but doubted JDM possessed the mindset to take full responsibility. Gary's stark declaration, "I don't believe JDM's man enough to point the finger at himself and say I wasn't good enough." This brutal assessment suggests a character flaw that could hinder JDM's growth, painting a picture of a fighter unable to confront uncomfortable truths. A harsh psychological blow delivered by a fellow competitor.
The next fight it's gotta be Ilia. Ilia's gotta go out there and beat Justin Gaethje. He's gotta go out there and beat Patty. Whoever he beats, he's gotta go out there and get the job done. But Ilia, I'm so curious if Islam can do this to Ilia. Ilia, he matches that skill set, and I just feel like it would be a lot closer of a fight than Jack versus Islam was. That's the fight you have to make. That's the fight that should have this time, but they didn't. But that's okay. Islam got the job done. Ilia, it's like even if he's going against Patty, it's like I don't know who I got. I want to see Ilia win his next fight just so we can see Islam versus Ilia. That would be the biggest, most skillful fight of all time, and it would be honestly hard to beat.
In a display of striking sportsmanship and humility, Ben Vickers, Jack Della Madalena's coach, openly praised Islam Makhachev's performance, declaring it solidifies his legacy as one of the greatest. Vickers admitted that while his past predictions have mostly been accurate, Islam exceeded expectations this time. He candidly stated, "I've got egg on my face and I look a bit silly for some of the things I've said leading up to the fight." This honesty from a rival coach speaks volumes about Islam's masterful execution, which Vickers called a perfect game plan. He bestowed nothing but props and congratulations on Islam, going as far as to say the performance cements Islam's status as likely the GOAT. This acknowledgement from a disappointed corner is perhaps the highest form of respect.
Yeah, we haven't really seen Ilia get tested in the grappling. Bryce Mitchell is a very high-level grappler, and Ilia handled that. Ilia's skill set is so high. They're both 10 out of 10s in MMA. Rare, John Jones, 10 out of 10. Rare, there's a couple people in MMA that have that skill set that can do everything. Strike, wrestle, jiu-jitsu. Both those guys have it. So I don't know. I mean, in that sense, maybe size does come in. Maybe size.
Ben Vickers, JDM's coach, also took the opportunity to directly address and dismiss rumors of an injury suffered by Jack Della Madalena leading up to or during UFC 322. He clarified emphatically that Jack was not hurt in the fight against Islam Makhachev, stating a clear principle: when you commit to having a fight, it doesn't matter what the fuck you're talking about. Vickers emphasized that when they stepped into the cage, they believed Jack could win that fight, making no excuses here. In a powerful act of accountability, Vickers took full responsibility for the outcome, stating, "It's my job to make sure everything's right, everything's proper, and Jack's in the best place, and maybe I didn't do a good enough job this time." This personal ownership is rare and speaks volumes about the coaching ethos.
If Bilal is able to win that one, so and then not just so now you want to challenge the man that you didn't want to challenge you to fight for the title? Because you said that was my brother, I trained with him, I don't want him to challenge me for the title.
Ew, golly, Kumaru, did I even think about it that way?
Yeah, but what are we in this for? If it's not for the gold, what are you in this for?
Yeah, exactly, I agree.
So are you as close as you say you were, or were you just faking it just because you didn't want to be challenged?
Renato Moicano offered a poignant observation from the canvas, stating that Jack Della Madalena seemed mentally beaten and even appeared close to tears against Islam Makhachev. Moicano described the sheer frustration etched on JDM's face, a fighter pushed to his absolute mental and physical limits. He highlighted the near impossible scenario of JDM having to face Islam on just 1 day's notice after months of training specifically for a welterweight title fight. Moicano reiterated that if Islam is given any space, he will take advantage and lock in a submission, a relentless pressure that completely wore JDM down. By the 5th attempt, JDM looked completely frustrated and mentally defeated, according to Moicano, showcasing both Islam's unparalleled skill and the suffocating strength of Khabib's camp, a truly demoralizing defeat.
I don't think either guy, this puts them for a title shot at all. Not long ago did we just lose to Shavkat Rakhmonov. Not long ago. That was not that long ago. Yes, of course we were able to outsmart Prates and get that win, but not long ago did we lose to Shavkat. Past that, we have if what's the other guy's name? If Bilal is able to win that one, so and then not just so now you want to challenge the man that you didn't want to challenge you to fight for the title.
Even seasoned veterans like TJ Dillashaw were caught off guard by the sheer dominance displayed by Islam Makhachev against Jack Della Maddalena. Dillashaw, while always favoring Islam in a grappler versus striker matchup, especially with someone as dominant as Islam, did not expect it to look that easy. He admitted he anticipated JDM would give him more problems, expecting him to get back to his feet and show more danger on his feet. The reality, however, was a fight so one-sided that it made Islam's performance look effortless, underscoring the vast chasm between the champion and an elite contender. This sentiment reveals a widespread miscalculation, showing just how far Islam has elevated his game, proving that even well-informed predictions can be dramatically overturned by his overwhelming skill. While Shavkat Rakhmonov is hailed as Islam Makhachev's toughest test, his journey has been hampered by significant setbacks. Jorge Masvidal pointed out that Shavkat has been out with injuries for so long, yet still considers him one of the most dangerous at 70. This absence underscores the frustrating reality for fans eager to see him in action. Masvidal, among others, believes Shavkat deserves a top-level fight soon, emphasizing the urgency to get him back in the cage against a significant opponent, perhaps even before a title shot, to prove he's still the only realistic challenge to Islam. The sustained in-ear layoff has kept this monster of the welterweight division from proving his full potential, leaving fans on the edge of their seats, yearning for his return to settle the burning questions. The welterweight title picture took a controversial turn when Kamaru Usman publicly questioned Belal Muhammad's alleged friendship with Islam Makhachev. With Belal now eyeing a title shot, Usman asked pointedly if this closeness was real or just an excuse to avoid a challenge. Usman highlighted that Belal had avoided Islam before, citing their supposed brotherhood as the reason. Yet, now that a championship opportunity looms, Belal suddenly wants to fight for the belt. Usman's cutting query: So are you as close as you say you were? Oh, were you just faking it just because you didn't want to be challenged? Strikes at the heart of Belal's integrity and competitive spirit. This isn't just pre-fight trash talk, it's a deep dive into the motivations behind a fighter's choices and loyalties within the sport. Kamaru Usman didn't let up on Belal Muhammad, further dissecting his shift in stance regarding Islam Makhachev. He questioned the apparent contradiction, previously avoiding Islam due to their brotherly bond, but now, with a potential title shot on the line, willing to cast that bond aside. Usman, seemingly perplexed, asked, "What are we in this for? If it's not for the gold, what are you in this for?" This isn't merely about ambition, it's about the very core values of a fighter. Is the pursuit of a championship truly sacred, overriding all other considerations, even friendship? Usman's probing suggests a potential hypocrisy, forcing Belal to confront whether his loyalties were genuine or strategically convenient. It's a compelling challenge that resonates beyond the cage, touching upon the nature of competitive sports at the highest level. Kamaru Usman, ever the gatekeeper of championship integrity, made his stance clear regarding the welterweight title picture. He believes neither Ian Gary nor Belal Muhammad has earned the next title shot. Usman quickly pointed out that Gary recently lost to Shavkat Rakhmonov, implying that a fighter coming off such a significant defeat is hardly in a position to contend for a belt. As for Belal, Usman questioned what a win in his upcoming fight would truly prove, suggesting it wouldn't be enough to justify a championship opportunity. His implication is that neither fighter has built a compelling enough resume or demonstrated the dominant form required to challenge for a title at this stage. Usman's blunt assessment cuts through the noise, demanding clear, undeniable merit for any shot at gold. The landscape surrounding Islam Makhachev is one of immense speculation and high stakes. From Masvidal's bold claim that Shavkat Rakhmonov is his only true peer, to the heated debates about Ilia Tapuria's unique threat and the controversial discussions surrounding other contenders like Belal Muhammad and Ian Gary, it's clear Islam is operating in a realm of unparalleled scrutiny. His recent, shockingly dominant win over JDM only cemented his status, but also intensified the hunt for an opponent who can genuinely openly challenge him. The biggest question remains, who truly has the tools, be it size, skill, heart, or a unique stylistic matchup to dethrone the seemingly unstoppable force that is Islam Makhachev? The future of multiple divisions hangs on this answer, promising an exhilarating chapter in MMA history.